Hardee's has faced its fair share of criticism over the years for its risque commercials, but there's a slew of behind-the-scenes drama that might have you reconsidering that monster combo. These are a few things you may want to know before placing your next order. Fast food chains are under constant pressure from activists to source more ethical, humanely procured animal products. Some have met these demands spectacularly well. According to the Humane Society of the United States, Chipotle is the fast food chain that's most impressively improved its sourcing practices, while Waffle House is the worst. Meanwhile, CKE Restaurants, which operates Hardee's and Carl's Jr., sits at a middling spot of 42 out of 66. One of the biggest reasons for this less than stellar ranking is the fact that many feel Hardee's has backed out of its promise to phase out eggs sourced from caged hens, a practice that many feel is cruel due to the confined life it inflicts upon the chickens. Back in 2016, Hardee's promised to achieve this goal by 2025. As of 2024, there's no official update on its progress, other than a vague claim on Hardee's website that the restaurant chain is, quote, on track to transition our egg supply. Eggs aren't the only cause for concern at Hardee's. In 2022, World Animal Protection claimed that CKE Restaurants had walked back on the pig welfare promises it had made in 2007, removing the original commitments to source pork from suppliers that don't use gestation crates from its website. For those out of the loop, gestation crates are vessels barely bigger than a sow where pregnant pigs are housed for the sake of maximizing space. At the time, Hardee's spokesperson Jeff Mokel said, "We take the animal welfare concerns very seriously. When you meet with PETA, they make a pretty good case. We want to stay consistent with where the industry is at now and where it's heading." Fast forward 17 years and the Hardee's website simply claims that it, quote, began our commitment to group housing for pregnant sows in 2016, a solid 7 years after these initial promises were made, and that it is exceeding an average of 65% of sows sourced from group housing, with no clear progression goals listed. As a result, Hardee's, along with such restaurant chains as Domino's, Panda Express, and Whataburger, was classed as one of World Animal Protection's Tier 6 restaurants, a category reserved only for those making very poor progress on investing in humane food systems. Hardee's matches your sandwich cravings with two different kinds of meat, beef and chicken. Regardless of what you order, all of this meat is allegedly pre-frozen, a fact that's harder to ignore on some occasions than others. Hardee's customers have previously complained that the chain's burgers possess a strange bubble-like texture, which fellow restaurant-goers have noted is down to cooking the frozen patties. One Redditor explained, "As these patties cook, steam is released and the congealed meat traps them in bubbles you see here. Chicken may not suffer the same bumpy side effects, but it is also frozen before it is cooked. There's nothing especially insidious about cooking from frozen, aside from the fact that it often doesn't taste as flavorful as fresh meat. Admittedly, we understand why fast food joints opt to do so, considering that it's so cost-effective, especially in a post-pandemic world where supply chain and labor shortages have led to a 40% surge in restaurants using frozen meat. However, it's worth noting that plenty of fast food joints, including Wendy's, In-N-Out Burger, and Shake Shack, have a never-frozen guarantee to ensure the freshness of each burger. We used to live in a world where a third-pound beef patty was the norm at Hardee's. The aptly named Thick Burgers and the Monster Thick Burger, which used 2 of the third-pound beef patties, were a go-to for many Hardee's customers. Note the emphasis on the past tense. Hardee's later switched up its menu, killing off Thick Burgers and downsizing its biggest beef patties to quarter-pounders in the process. At the same time, some customers are convinced that Hardee's silently decreased the quality of its meat. Not only are the patties thinner, but they think the flavor has also taken a dip in recent years. One Hardee's customer on Reddit complained, "They definitely did change their patties. Those saying they didn't must not know what the patties were like 5+ years ago." Hardee's employees have corroborated this idea, with one taking to Reddit to explain, "They used to have quarter, 1/3, and half-pound burger patties that were pre-seasoned and thicker. They also looked almost like cooked meat as they were a deeper brown, which was what the original Thick Burger trademark came from. They went to thinner patties. These burgers are unseasoned and raw, but Hardee's employees season the third pounds with salt and pepper before putting them in the charbroiler." Of course, there's no official word from Hardee's, but it does make sense considering the sentiment around its beef right now. In this day and age, it would be quicker to list the businesses not suspected of shrinkflation than those that customers believe are slightly reducing their portion sizes for the sake of profit. Unfortunately, Hardee's would not feature on this list, as several patrons have already voiced their concerns that the burger joint is quietly downsizing some menu items without lowering prices. In other words, Shrinkflation 101. Sure, it's an altogether different restaurant, but say it with us anyway. Affected menu items include the lemonade, which is now allegedly served up in a 32-ounce cup if you order a large, as opposed to the previous size of 44 ounces, chicken tenders, burgers, and more. After sharing pictures of their notably small chicken tenders, one customer complained on Reddit, "Hardee's quality has really fallen off, shrinkflation hitting hard. Used to get chicken tenders 5 to 6 inches long. The breast meat was juicy and thick, breading was crispy. These are less than half the size." On the plus side, you can count on one menu item dodging shrinkflation, at least for now. According to Hardee's employees on Reddit, the restaurant still uses the exact same biscuit cutters it's always used, meaning that your biscuits should be a uniform size from store to store.